All right, welcome along to another episode of My Mate Bought a Toaster. And my guest today is the comedian and now writer, Sofie Hagen. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. Thanks for coming on the show. Welcome to the Amazon confessional sofa.
Thank you. Is it a safe space?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
and I
good.
like that sort of pre-therapy deep breath. Shall I do what therapists do and not speak? Because my therapist doesn't speak for ages and I just sit there.
No, mine knows. You can tell them. Like,
But
I
I
don't
don't
like it when you don't speak. It makes me really anxious. And if you just say it with enough anxiety in your voice, they go, okay,
Really?
well, and then they have to speak.
Oh, really?
Then they're the ones with the anxiety.
But I now get to the stage when I'm arriving for a good 10 minutes before. I'm like, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? What shall I open with? Let's go weather. We'll go in with weather. Thank God for weather.
Well, that's so British.
Yeah, I know.
And also just a good example of what Britishness is. Because the answer is your feelings.
Yeah.
So you're like, no, the weather.
The weather's much better. Let's use the clouds. Let's cover what's on the ground.
What do they symbolize?
Oh God. God, I've got emotions sweating. Oh God.
And now I'm not going to speak for an hour.
That's fine. I mean, that would be an interesting episode if you don't speak for an hour and I just scroll and talk about what you bought.
Yeah, no, I would have to.
You have no right of reply. That would be terrifying.
No, listen.
So we're in your Amazon account.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving us full access. And we've gone back to your first orders. You've made 3 orders on the 13th of November, 2009. It's your first one.
2009, November 2009. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So this
because I would still have been living in Denmark at this point.
Right. Okay.
So that must have been something that was quite... I don't know why I would buy anything from Amazon in Denmark, because that would have taken weeks to arrive.
Right. Because a big part of Amazon, of course, is the instantaneous, the prime, the kind of...
that's the whole point.
Well, maybe it was embarrassment, but I don't see that. Maybe it was. You bought 3 books. You bought basically 3 of the Twilight Saga books by Stephanie Meyer.
Oh, that's weird. Why did I buy that on Amazon? They will have been in English then.
Yes.
So I surely you can buy. Well, I don't know about the time, but I feel like that must be why.
Maybe the translation wasn't there yet. Maybe it was still in English.
Well, I don't know when it came out, but it probably would have been. I don't think I was quick on the Twilight wave.
Those books, no, that you're right. If you bought those then, they came out in this one, book one came out in 2007, but who knows? That's the paperback. Who knows when it came out? Don't write in. Don't tell us when it came out, listeners. We don't care.
Yeah.
Stephanie Meyer published these books. They went absolutely massive, and my experience of them was my wife took all of them on our honeymoon. What does that say about our marriage?
But she was having a great time.
I think so, and I read them. I really enjoy them.
Because they do what they do, which is fan fiction.
Yes.
And there is just something about fan fiction, but fan fiction in English.
Yeah.
There's just I can imagine not wanting to read that kind of book in Danish.
Okay.
Because it doesn't work in Danish. What's romantic and sexy in English is not romantic and sexy in Danish, and vice versa.
Expand. I need more.
It's hard to explain, because if you say anything that sounds super sincere in Danish, it sounds like you're acting, or that you're pretending. I mean, maybe I'm just revealing more about my own state of mind.
Good, keep going. That's the show.
It feels fake. It feels weird to just in Danish say the things that they would say in Twilight.
Uh-huh.
Whereas the things you would say in, like, the most romantic things I've seen in Danish television, Danish TV, would be someone saying like, "Oh, I fucking love you, you idiot." And like that,
okay.
There would be something like romantic about that. I can't explain. It's really
like
hard to explain.
Like a sort of big projection, shouting.
Like a realness, like a fuck you, I love you, fuck you, like that kind of like. I can't. It's You might, if you have any Danish listeners, they might come for me now, but that's fine.
We've got loads. Yeah, they'll be forming a queue. But then in English, and obviously the thing with Twilight is this sort of alabaster vampire figure who is it Robert? What's his name? Who played it in the film?
Pattinson.
Yeah. Who just
dramatic.
Do you know what? I felt like reading those books. I learned a lot about female desire. Like I had no idea. Better late than never, guys.
It's the idea of like her being chosen by this kind of dangerous guy who has not found anyone to love for like 100 years. Yeah. And the thing about, so the whole thing is that he can read minds, but not hers.
Because
So
she's got some weird...
fascinated.
Right, yeah.
Like, I can't read you. You're so mysterious. And she's like, oh my God, you're so mysterious. And it's just the best. I remember reading them and being really sad. There was something about them made me really sad and lonely.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh.
What, because you didn't
really
live with a
deep.
family of vampires? Why did you feel sad?
I mean, who wouldn't want to live with a family of vampires? I don't know. I think there was just something quite perfect. There was something about I think it's based off of some kind of Christian something where it's like, you know, he won't sleep with her until they're married, and it's very old fashioned, but it's also very safe. He's like, you are now my partner forever, and we will both live forever, and this is very simple. And when I was that, what do you say, 2009? Yeah, romantically, I was not in a good place. There was a lot of like being in love with people who didn't love me back, and I was like sighing after them and being very dramatic myself, but none of them were vampires, and I was very easy to read. And they did not find me mysterious. They found me a bit much. So I think I longed to be Bella in that situation. What
did you do in that situation? So how old were you in 2009? What were we saying?
I would have been 21.
Okay, super young. That's the whole point of being 21. You're supposed to... Unrequited love is the name of the game when you're 21.
Yeah, and 31, 36, you know.
That's what love is. We don't need the word unrequited.
What is love if not unrequited?
Oh my God.
But I was really into it. I was really into love, and I was really into love stories and declaring my love to people. And yeah, I was really making it.
But what happens in this book is, and it's set, watching the films as well, it's set in that sort of West Coast, Washington State, a lot of vampire things, like The Lost Boys as well. What an amazing movie. Woods, rain, dark. It's this sort of hiding from the outside world. You're hiding from the weather. You're hiding from your feelings. You're hiding from your family. Do you know what I mean? There's this sort of... That's what the whole thing is. And what's so good about the books, which I read on honeymoon, as I say, the Maldives, the worst place to read these. But what's so good about the books is that all good books are about hiding, right? That's what you do when you get stuck into a good book. I mean, I don't know, but that's...
I like it.
But it's true. And that is what... and also, because all the vampires are sort of hiding they have to hide their vampireness.
Yeah, but there's also from her perspective, where she's this like awkward, not like the other girls, you know, doesn't do the whole like feminine thing, which this was like before I even knew non-binary was a thing I could be or like that existed. Yeah. I was like, yes, I'm also not like the other girls. Yeah. I'm also weird.
Thank God for these books, right?
I know. I mean,
generally,
can.
I guess, you know, that's why you'd get into certain bands, I guess, and because you'd find a set of it codified something about you. You could look at a band or a book and go, that's me. It's a instruction booklet, right?
We're so on different sides of this because you're like, ooh, that's me, and I'm like, ooh, they could love me.
They
could love me. They could see me in a crowd. Like I wrote fan fiction when I was a teenager. I wrote when I was 13, 14. I wrote 350 fan fiction stories about Westlife.
Westlife fanfic.
Westlife, so many. It was all I did for like 2 years, 3 years maybe. But they were all the same. It was all the same. The baseline was always, there's a chubby girl with brown hair and brown eyes, and she's really weird but also very smart, but no one gets her. And then she goes to a Westlife concert, or like she runs into Westlife on a bus, or she for some reason Westlife is there, and they see her and they're like, oh my God, she's amazing. And she's all like, what do you mean? And she's like clumsy and like a bit like, it's exactly the Bella in Twilight thing of like, oh my God, what you want? And they're like, go with us on tour. And then one of them, or both of them, or all of them, are in love with her for some reason. And then it's like this. That's the whole story. Is weird chubby girl is seen by Westlife, and then she is loved.
But then she's loved. And was it? How old were you when you were writing this stuff?
I was 13, 14-ish.
Okay. And was that too young for it to become sexual, or was it not sexual?
No,
was it not about
because
that?
in my stories, so the only time there was sex was when they were having sex with each other.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
which
cool.
I did not know how that worked at the time, so it was imaginative.
Yeah,
I had to just guess. Did not guess correctly, but no, it was always they always didn't. it would always say something like, Mark didn't find sex to be fun, so he actually didn't want to have sex. So it's always this, I came around it by being like, oh, actually, they're not sexual at all. And also because at the time, I didn't drink, I didn't party like all the other kids in my town. So the Westlife also never partied in the stories. They were also like, oh, we hate it when people do drugs and drink alcohol. We just want to sit on the sofa with my girlfriend.
Yes. Oh my God, I love it. And how many of these did you write?
350.
Wow. Do you still have them all?
I have a lot of them. But I posted them on the westlife.com message board.
Oh, so you put them up on there? Yes,
I had
of
a lot
course.
of followers.
I've forgotten my logins for it, but yeah, I spent a lot of time on it. So you'd post them up there, because that's the whole thing about fanfic, which should frankly be called fanfuck, because that seems to be all that happens in it. Because there's
No, because they were not into it.
But they were not into it. Good point. Well made. But they would. So you were already looking for an audience then. You were finding an audience.
Yeah. Weirdly, I was. I didn't think of it that way at the time.
Yeah.
But like, I would read others' I made friends through it as well.
Yeah.
I would read their fan fiction. They would read mine.
Did you meet them in real life? Did you make proper friends you met in real life? Really? Westlife conventions or what? How does it work?
Oh, you mean the fans?
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
you meant Westlife.
Oh,
Both.
hang on. Have you met Westlife?
Both.
Tell me about. Oh, first of all,
okay.
obviously, tell me about meeting Westlife.
Okay, so I became. I'm quite intense as a person, so I would call. Yeah, because this was before email. Maybe we just got email. Call, email, send letters to every single newspaper, radio show, TV show, any kind of magazine, teen magazine. I would pitch myself and I'd be like, listen, you know what's in right now? Boy bands. Do you know what people really want to see? Fans meeting boy bands.
Clever.
Guess what?
Clever.
Here's a fan.
But that can really
You bring
backfire
in
if
the
they're
boy
like
band.
Blue are here. And you're like, no, I didn't mean them. Do you know what I mean? You've got to get Westlife. Did you say it's Westlife all the way?
I said it was Westside, but
Okay.
that did happen. Not with Blue, but with Busted. There's a journalist who
And were you just like, yeah,
I was
whatever.
because Charlie wasn't there, and I was like, at least I get to meet Charlie. I guess that's okay. And then he wasn't there, and I was like,
So there's only two of them then.
just
'cause-
meeting those two. I was really mad. There's a photo in the newspaper of me I look really sad, like next to this picture of the two guys from Busted being like, way.
Amazing. Oh my
was
God.
Charlie. So
I'm
that
sorry.
did
There needs to be a
happen.
meme for disappointed fans because I love that.
Ronan Keating as well, and Brian when he went solo. Like I had friends within Danish journalism who would be like, I bet from their point of view they'd be like, I don't give a shit about this. Get the teenager in to do work for free, and I was like, yes.
Yeah. You're finding the gap in the market where they want you. So you have met Westlife.
I have met, because what happened was one of the Danish TV shows surprised. It was me and my friend Sarah. We were 13, 14, and our parents had been like, oh, let's all hang out, because Sofie and Sarah hang out all the time. Let's all hang out. And that was really weird because my mom doesn't like people.
Yeah.
So I was like, fine. And then we were like eating breakfast at the table. Everything was a bit weird.
Yeah.
Because they'd like asked us to sit on the same side of the table and stuff. It was
They set you
what
up
is
for the shot.
happening?
There were these big lights there.
Well,
there was a
that's the
director with a
first
clapperboard.
The first thing I saw was someone rang the doorbell. The first thing I saw was this like bright light.
Yeah.
And I remember just being like, I don't know what's happening here. And then suddenly there was like a woman, there was a camera, there was a woman with a microphone going, you're meeting Westlife. And we were just like, ah. So they flew us to London the next day to meet Westlife for half an hour, 45 minutes, and interview them on this big TV show. And
Wow.
yeah, it was wild.
How was it spending that long with them? Because I've done a few interviews myself, and sometimes you get people for like 15 minutes. Great. Sometimes you get people for 45 minutes. And there's a band who I'm definitely not going to mention who had 45 minutes, and we very much ran out of stuff to talk about. And it was awkward.
You have to tell me afterwards.
I will 100% tell you afterwards. How was the Westlife? Did you just fill the 45 minutes with joy and love? Were you just...
I mean, I wasn't. Like, it was... It's hard to explain that level of insanity.
Sure.
When you're like, every single day for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Every single day, I had been obsessed. The first time I touched Kian, I was at a concert where it was like an MTV thing, and like they walked past me and I reached out and I touched Kian's elbow. When I came home that night, my mother thought that I'd been attacked and assaulted because I was screaming. Crying, and she was just like, who did this? Who did this? And I was like, elbow. Like, it was when a new album came out, when a new single came out. Like, I knew every lyric to every song. Their posters was like covering the ceiling and the walls of my, like, it was.
But how does the super fan, the whole thing, I think about a lot of this, if you are a super mega fan like that, and it comes back to the Twilight stuff, it's all about, it's never really going to happen. Do you know what I mean? The whole, it's not really about never meet your heroes. That's a different sort of theme. That's about if they're disappointing. But how is it for you internally when this thing you've built up so much love around, but it's all based on, deep down, you know, you're never going to meet them. Do you know what I mean? Because then they become a fantasy. Then you do actually meet them.
I think if we'd had to spend like a week together, maybe I would have reached that point of being like, Jesus Christ, shut up. Like, can you just leave me alone? But 45 minutes is nothing.
Oh, I'd love
nothing. And we ended up sitting on their laps for like a promo video.
That's weird.
So after we'd had the interview, they were like this like producer was like, all right, we need to get moving. There's other people that come, you know.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, we need a promo shot. You need to like all be in the same screen. And like they couldn't get that from the angle. Yeah. So they were like, if you just just sit on their laps and then we'll do this. And I was like, my friend like immediately just on mark, just like sultrily just like attacking him. And I was like looking at Brian McFadden and I was like, excuse me. I'm fat. I'm not breaking his legs. So let me just make that very clear right now. And these producers and the journalists, there was a whole room of adults being like, we have no time for this. Sit on his lap so we can get this shot. And I made a huge deal of it. I was like, I'm not going to sit on his lap. I wasn't even, I wasn't fat. Like he was fine. But I was so self-conscious. I was like, I'm not going to sit on his lap. I will break his legs, and I'm not breaking the legs of Brian McFadden on TV. It's just a thing. That's my thing. I'm not doing it.
Did you sit on his lap?
He then grabbed my hips and like pulled me down.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's called levitating, hovering over his lap like by like an inch. Like my knees just like.
What you're saying is, Sophie, you squatted on.
Yeah, I squatted on Brian McFadden. Until he was like, it's okay. He was like, it's okay. It's okay. And then I like sat all the way down. And then we did and then he started jumping his legs to make fun of me.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
It was a huge moment.
So it was a good, and did you, after that had happened, did your Westlife obsession continue or did it feel?
Worse than ever. Worse than ever. I think for every single day for like a year, we would talk, me and my friend Sarah, we would talk through every single thing that had happened.
Yeah.
Like, so because we never wanted to forget every single moment of that. Wow. We made a website called WeMetWestlife.whatever. Wow. So just to write down minute for minute. But also it wasn't shown on TV for months. So we would go to school and be like, we were flown to London to meet Westlife. And they'd be like, no, you weren't.
Oh, amazing.
Stop
They didn't believe you at all.
Of course not. We'd been crazy for so long. They were like, mm-hmm.
And that might, because of course these are before, I assume, having a phone and going, here we are.
No phones.
So that moment when it came on TV, you must have been...
So vindicated.
That's the greatest moment of your life, Sophie.
Oh, definitely. It's been downhill from there. Especially now when you then meet them. You're like, oh.
They're now big fans of your stand-up.
Listen.
It's gone full circle.
They, from what I can tell, they are a bit nervous about my existence.
They can't afford security guards anymore. That's the problem. That's the issue. All right. Okay, good. So already we're learning a huge amount about you, Sophie. Intensity.
Definitely that. That's definitely there.
Intensity. Like this. 2011 now. So this is just before you come to the UK, right? This is your next purchase. So no purchase then for a couple of years. And we can see the direction of travel here. I Killed True Stories of the Road from America's Top Comics. The comic tour books had to be funny, even if you're not. Oh my God, I need to read that. The funny thing is Ellen DeGeneres and Comedy at the Edge, how stand-up in the 1970s changed America. And of course, to round that all off, the Phantom of the Opera at the Royal Albert Hall. Makes perfect sense.
It's all happening, isn't it? Yeah, because I started doing stand-up in 2010.
Okay.
And I remember reading a bunch of books.
Yeah.
Before that happened. So that must have been like the next wave. That must have been when I started getting like, you know how in the very beginning you're like, I can do this. People are being nice to me. And then you realize, oh no, it's a lot of work. And that must have been when I wanted to read books about people dying on stage.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Ghosts on stage and Phantom of the Opera. Perfect. And when did the idea of coming to the UK sort of dawn on you? When did you decide to come here?
Well, that's weirdly in a roundabout way to do with Phantom of the Opera.
Excellent.
Because I watched they showed that Phantom of the Opera in the cinemas, so that it was like the 25th or 20th Jubilee. And that was the first time I'd seen any like musical theatre, and I was blown away. And it's the one where Ramin Karimloo plays the Phantom and Hadley Fraser plays the guy, the Vicomte. And I was so in love with it. And that meant that there was a local performance of Rent. And I was like, oh my God, I got to go to this and see Rent. And I sat there and I saw the guy who played Mark in Rent. I was like, fuck, I know him. I've worked with him like a year ago. I've worked with this guy.
Oh, I love that. Oh,
and I was like, he asked me out and I said no. And now he's like on stage being hot and amazing. So like after the show, I was like, hi, remember me? And he was like, oh my God. And I was like, we should actually do the thing now. And he was like, okay, let's. And then for like 2 months, I really, truly believed that we were dating. You know the thing that actors do where they're very touchy-feely, but that doesn't mean anything? Yeah, I didn't know that. So he thought we were just being friends. So when we were about to, I thought, have our first kiss, he was like, whoa, 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 we're just friends. And I was like, but we're lying in my bed, like our legs are intertwined. And he was like, no, we're friends. And I got so mad and sad about that rejection that I was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I am going to go to London and I'm going to watch all your favorite musicals, you piece of shit. And I did, but I watched all the matinees and then I had the evenings off. And I had done stand-up in English once, maybe twice. So I was like, I could just find some open mics in London.
Yeah.
So I have something to do in the evening. And then I ended up doing 1 or 2 shows a night for a week. And I was like,
here we go.
Shit. Because the last show I did, Bobby Mayer, Nick Dixon, and Peter White were on. And we were talking, and they're all Canadians. No, Nick Dixon isn't, but Bobby Mayer and Peter White are still. That doesn't go away, does it? But and I think they just come over.
Yeah.
And I was like complaining about, I was like, I really wish I was like, I could go to London more often. Like, Denmark is so far away. And Bobby was just like, we moved here from fucking Canada and you're 2 hours away. Fuck you. Move here. Why are you not? Just shut up and move here.
Yeah.
And like that was implanted in my head. So by the time I got back to Denmark, I was like, oh shit. I just immediately went straight from like the plane home, but the next ticket, which was meant to be for 10 days.
Yeah.
And at the end of the 10 days, I just stayed.
Wow.
Just like
My God, but again, it's that intensity and like, I'm going to do this, it's going to happen, and we're on. So it's coming back a step. So this guy who was in Rent,
He was in Rent. He was really good.
Can we just talk about him for a second? Are you happy to talk about it? Yeah. Like, he's doing the whole touchy-feely thing. You're lying on a bed with your legs intertwined.
Yeah.
And then he says, no, we're just friends.
Yeah.
And at this stage, what happens to Sofie Hagen? Does she go, I'm a dickhead, I've read this wrong? Or does she realise that he's an absolute gaslighting
No, because I don't think he was, really.
Hang on. If you've got your legs intertwined like that and you're, like, it's not unreasonable to move in for a kiss.
I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think we were both in the wrong. I think that... I
mean, admittedly, do you know what, Sophie? I wasn't there. I do have to concede that.
It's a mix. It's a mix of him being way more... him never expecting anyone to be in love with him.
Okay.
And him being a lot more touchy-feely than I... Like, at this point, I was hanging out with comedians, right? There were no feelings, there was no touch.
Of course.
No one speaks about anything. Like, fuck off. Everything's jokes.
Yeah.
And then him being an actor...
came along and ruined that.
Him being an actor who's like, oh my God, let's talk about our feelings all the time. And then me reading that as like, that must be love. Because if any of the comedians did this, we'd be married by now.
Right, yeah.
And then a mix of me just really wanting it to be true.
Oh, hi you. I think that's the feelings alarm.
Yeah.
That's what happens if we ever go a little bit too much into how we're feeling about stuff. Come on. There you go.
I'm really glad that's not serious because my foot is asleep so much. If we had to run, I'd just be save yourselves.
If your foot's
save yourselves.
Just run in a circle. Sophie's fine.
Just be like, take me with you.
I really, I'm going to keep that in the podcast.
Yeah,
because
please do.
I think people need to know how...
All podcasts should have. It's like the Oscars at the end when they're like, get on with it.
Yeah. But exactly. Oh my God, the move on button. That was the producer doing that. No, but I just think that we should... acknowledge that both you and I just went, well, I'm not moving.
Oh no! Listen. In the when I first moved to the UK and there were fire alarms, I was like, especially when you're on stage and there's a fire alarm, you're like, oh my god, and then you realize everyone's just like, continue on.
It's fine.
Continue.
It's fine. Keep calm and carry on.
We would rather die than make an effort to do anything at all emotionally.
Exactly. I will also, crucially, I think there's another British thing that we don't talk about enough, which is I won't be told what to do. That's a big British thing. We're stubborn pricks. So, okay, all right.
I think it was unfortunate, and he was very sweet, and he was very, like, he started crying immediately.
Okay, I feel bad.
And he was like, oh no. He was like, no one's ever said that to me. I can't. He was like, I'm always the one who's rejected, and now I have to reject. And I was like, yeah, it must be hard for you.
Poor you.
This must be such a hard situation for you to be in. And I ended up, because he just kept crying for so long, I ended up being like, this is such a nerdy reference. I was like, don't you fret, monsieur. There he is.
I'm not going to get it.
It's from Les Mis, when the girl who's in love with the boy, she dies, and he's like, yeah, 100-year-old spoiler.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, oh no, you're dying. And she's like, it's okay. A little drop of rain will hardly hurt me now. You're here. That's all I need. Like, it's like this, like, really emotional. And he started weeping. He was like, stop it.
Oh my God.
I was really mad. And I was like, with all due respect, this is harder for me than for you. Yeah. And I feel really weird crying if you're crying. So can you please leave so I can cry?
Just have little crying cubicles. That's what we needed.
And then about, I think, a year later, I came back to Denmark to do a show, and he was in the front row.
Wow.
And I said to the other comedians, I was like, what the fuck do I do? This guy is in the front row. Yeah. And they were like, you know what to do.
Sing the Les Mis song.
I was like, I know. So I told the audience the whole story. And then at the end I went, and he's here. He's in the front row. And then I said, why couldn't you love me? And I reached the microphone out to him.
Wow.
He was just like, I'm so sorry.
Wow.
And he brought all his friends and family to see me because he felt so bad.
Wow. That's amazing. What did he say? Just, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was just like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, because actors don't do improv, do they?
No, exactly. Yeah.
He was like, where's my script?
Line. Line. Sophie, you must have felt the status and the power of stand-up then. I mean, that's quite a nice thing, you know, if you're... that's one of the great things about being a performer is that you get these moments, not specifically with the topic sitting in the front row, but you feel like you have polished the turd with life. I moving to the UK was so good for me because Denmark is such a small scene, and you do end up knowing everyone. Mm-hmm. And I think I felt my ego was not handling it amazingly. I was trying to continuously know that I had to get better and stuff. Yeah. But there was something amazing about coming to the UK and realizing that the world of stand-up is so much bigger. Yeah. And you will just continue to meet people and see new comedians, and it's ever growing, it's ever changing.
Which is what we need. Like, stand-up needs that. Yeah. To be able to, continue to learn that you're not the best.
Absolutely. It can't be a closed shop. It can't be a closed shop.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Although I do still need gigs.
Please book us.
All right, look, skipping on ahead here, 2013. So you're in the UK now, you're doing stand-up, and I can see all sorts of bits and bobs. How to write for TV.
Should have read that, shouldn't I?
How's that going?
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't even know where that book is.
Casio Women's Vibration Alarm Watch.
Oh, I missed that. You can't buy that anymore.
30 quid that costs.
I remember those.
Yeah, of course. Everyone had those watches.
Oh my God. Now I have to get I had an Apple Watch that I only wear for gigs. It's too expensive to just...
Yeah, thanks Apple. 300 quid. Fine.
Oh my God.
Unique store set of 5 pink design double-ended nail art. You've bought nail decorations.
What month?
November 25th.
Yeah, that's a Christmas present.
I see.
Yeah, okay. I don't think I've ever dealt with nail art.
Right, fine. Yeah. Gosh.
Nah.
Just why add on another thing to do? Bloody hell. Okay. We've got Elizabeth Arden Ceramide Lash Extending Treatment Mascara. Some mascara there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you dabble?
I did. I haven't worn makeup now for almost since September.
That's good. Liberating.
Yeah. Just to save so much time. Like, since I cut off my hair, and then almost around the same time, I just stopped wearing makeup, and then I stopped wearing jewelry, really. And I still wake up in time to do the whole thing because it's so ingrained in me.
Yeah.
But then I'll wake up at like 6, and then like 6:15, I'm like, oh, wait, I'm done?
Yeah. I've just bought loads of time.
Yeah.
It's the greatest product you can buy.
Oh my God.
And do you feel more like yourself now you don't have to do that stuff? Because it is literally putting a mask on, and I understand why people do it, and I'm not denigrating it, but yeah.
And there was something about it that was like, I miss the ritual. And I think there was still, it's so weird because it's not, for me, it wasn't about like looking better. It was about looking more like a woman, which I'm not. But it felt like I was like trying to show other people that like don't be afraid of the non-binary thing. Like, see, I look like something you recognize.
Yes.
So there's like the two things. There's like me alone in my room with the makeup, which is, I like that bit. That's fun.
Yes.
It's fun putting it on. And then there's like the outside world thing. And I quite just like, this does feel more like me, but also feeling and looking more like yourself is scarier than wearing the mask.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because, and I talked to Marcus Brigstock about this a couple of weeks ago.
Cool.
You're facing the void then. The big scary thing that you spent your whole life with your back to, and you have to turn and address that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's something about knowing that you are looking less attractive to men, which I've always done because I've always been fat. But like, at least the femininity was like, see, I'm trying. Like, I was like trying, and now it's very much like I feel like I'm wearing a sign that says I'm not interested, and that feels scary. Yeah. And also,
but the truth and you, right? That is your like authentic self.
Yeah. And then you think, oh, thank God they're gonna leave me alone. They still don't. No. It's wild. They're like, what a fun challenge that sign is.
It's funny, when I met you today, you were outside. You were early for the podcast.
I know.
You're literally the first of this series to be early. And I walked past a load of guys, and no offense to any scaffolders listening, I don't know how many there are, but scaffers are notorious. My mate is a scaffolder, actually. Rob, he's a legend. But scaffers are crazy, because they're the guys that they scale and they were so blokey. Did you spot them on the street? And I saw you in the road, and I thought, I wonder if Sophie's had to walk past them, because they were chatting to everyone who walked past. They were giving people, not grief, but just...
Which side? From where you came?
Coming from Piccadilly, yeah.
Oh, I came from Oxford,
okay.
That's why.
And they said something, I think there's something about my shoes or something, big shoes or whatever. And I just didn't react. And I saw you at the end of the road, and I thought, I wonder if they've given Sophie any shit. And I
don't hear what people...
Yeah.
Because I wear headphones, and I just don't want to talk to me. I don't care what people say to me.
Yeah.
But I do. You have to constantly be a bit aware of like, oh, are people going to be? But I've always lived with that. That's a fat thing.
Right.
So it's just always like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. Just okay, fine. Can we talk about the non-binary thing?
Yeah.
Explain this to me. When did you reach this conclusion? When did it happen? When did you feel able to talk about it and make that decision?
Well, the thing is, I grew up very non-gendered. My mom. I've never been called, like at home, I was never referred to as a girl. My mom wasn't like progressive. Well, she was, but she didn't do it on purpose.
Right.
Because I think she would, if she was young today, she probably would have fallen into the same category. Like, she only wears men's clothing. She doesn't do makeup. She doesn't do her hair. Like, she's incredibly, a lot of stuff about her would be like classically seen as male.
Yeah.
So she never did the thing of like, girls have to sit like this, or girls have to say that, or you're a girl, be like, do this and that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I started doing stand-up that people, also because Denmark, a very sexist country in a lot of ways, but there is an inherent gender equality that you can sort of, it's more like a feeling. And, and then I moved to the UK, I started doing stand-up, and everyone was like, this female comedian, this woman comedian talking about woman thing. And I was just like, whoa, what is happening?
Yeah.
And I had to be like, oh, I guess I am a woman. And
it's not even the makeup you're putting on now, it's the material you're putting on your face.
It's just your entire just like existence. It's just like,
decorate
woman,
your creative...
Wow, I can't believe you're a woman. It's just all the time. Then I moved to the UK, where suddenly it was, Miss Love, like people holding the door for you. Like the way you feel gendered in the UK is mad. And it's so... You can't, like, men walking on like one side of the road because you're meant to for some whatever reason. It's wild. And you have to write like Mrs. or Miss on every single form.
The default is white man.
Yeah, and also like you have
every
to
single microscopic behaviour. For example, me talking over you. Then that is
you have to,
which is my right. But it's true.
It's so gendered, and then I started meeting these non-binary people. I met Amru Al-Qadi, who is Glamru, who's a drag queen, and Travis Alabanza, and they're both non-binary. And then I learned about it, and I was a bit like, oh. And then there was I did a gig in Edinburgh with, do you know Jodie Mitchell?
No.
Oh, Jodie's an amazing comedian and a drag king. And what Jodie said jokingly to someone else, said like, oh yeah, Sophie's my daddy. And I was like, oh, I'm feeling feelings. I don't know how to deal with these feelings right now. There is something about this that feels weird. And then I went to see Jodie do drag kinging. And I turned to my friend who had brought with me. I was like, isn't it funny how when you see people play with gender like this, you just think, well, I'm not a woman. And she went, no, that's not a thing. Like, I still feel like a woman. Like, what do you mean? And I was like, oh, so being a woman isn't constantly feeling like you're not a woman. Like, I just thought that was part of it. Like, you hear about how it's hard to be a woman. Part of it must be that you're constantly feeling like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, this is like a skin suit that's too tight.
Yeah.
And then it was around New Year's when, I don't remember which year, and I spoke to Travis Alabanza, and I was like, I think I'm definitely not a woman. And they were just like, great, welcome. And
that's the moment.
It was
that's
like
huge.
a few months before I dared to like say it out loud properly, like publicly. But
how recently was it? How long ago is this?
I'm guessing 18, 19 maybe, thereabouts.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
It's amazing that moment where you wanted to ask every woman in the world. Sorry, do you feel like?
And because people are just like, oh yeah, I'm a woman. Like, oh.
Yeah.
It feels like that. You just feel like it.
It's funny though, isn't it, when you think about what stand-up is, which is we go on stage and we try and, on its most fundamental level, find that observation that everyone goes, yeah, I have that. And there's this massive thing where you've always assumed we've all got that.
Yeah.
And it's like, no.
Well, it's the same when I realized I was queer, when I was like, oh yeah, being straight, that's like you want to really, really, really want to kiss the girls, but you don't. You decide to kiss the boys. That's straight? Yes. And people be like, I have no interest in kissing girls. Like, what? Why not?
But like, do you have a sense of gratitude that you've found this thing that people in different parts of the world at different times have not been able to go on this journey? Like, it must feel.
Yeah, I think there's a sense of community. The feeling you get when you speak to other people who are also non-binary or trans or who get it, invaluable. Like, that is so. Yes. That's such a big feeling.
Yeah.
But also it's weird because it's just always been like this.
Yeah.
So the only difference is that I'm telling other people, because it's not like I'm not really married to the word non-binary. It's just like that best explains it.
Yeah. No.
Whatever the feeling of.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just a person. I'm just a human.
Yeah.
And
how do you feel about the sort of because we construct this version of ourselves, and then something comes along like you deciding that you realise you're not a woman, and you then have to sort of almost deconstruct the thing you've created, and all the relationships you've created are built on that facade. And then you've got to do the justification to them who go, no, you're not. What do you mean? And then you've got to do the justification in your role with your profile of justifying it to people who love you as fans of yours. The trolls will come a-hunting. Like, it's a huge undertaking on a personal, but especially with you, professional level to do something like that.
I think there's it didn't feel as big because the fatness has been more of a thing.
Okay.
So I'd already had to, the friends I had and the people who were close to me at the time were already really good people, because those are the people I surround myself with. So none of them were like, oh, what do you mean? Because I'm not friends with people who talk like that.
Yeah.
Because I
just don't understand, Sophie. I just want to sit and talk about Chelsea Spurs with you. Sophie.
All my good mates there, yeah. So I was surrounding myself with good, kind people. So that bit was just, and a lot of them were just like, yeah, we fucking know. Like, we've been waiting for you to be able to realize this.
Also, a very good way of getting rid of the deadwood. The people who go, this is a problem, you're like, oh, well, this is good to know.
Yeah, I really don't care. So, and also, like, publicly and online, I've talked about fat liberation and fatness so much that for me to add, like, non-binary into the mix, it's not really going to scare away a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think I would have scared people away more if I'd been like, and I'm a Tory. That's when I would have lost everyone and everything. So, but because I have kind
You're right.
people,
That would be properly. That would be actually crazy. I
that's
can't
when you're
understand
like,
that.
wait, no, I can't be friends with that. And I respect them for stepping away.
All right, let's skip on through, Sophie. Let's go to 2014 now, and Apple iPod Nano, lovely.
Oh,
People
I miss
have
that.
reaction every single time.
I miss a Nano. I miss an iPod.
What is it about? There's certain bits of tech that stick onto our souls, and we always look back.
Oh, it was so smooth and colourful.
Yeah, but it's again with Apple, it's the inbuilt obsolescence that it evolves so quickly that you don't get to enjoy the thing for a while. And actually, it always happens with music. People always, I guess it's your generation's version of me enjoying a tape or my mum enjoying vinyl. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You look back on those things, but those Nanos were incredible. The way they worked and the way they held all that music in your hand, and yet they were isolated. They were an island. You couldn't go onto the internet. The internet is too big.
Yeah, I kind of miss having it. I for ages I held on to like when people around me were like, "Oh, I listen to music on my phone." I was like, "Oh, I'm never." I've always been I've always been that person.
Oh, Rick, what, resistant to change in tech or in everything?
I think I get it from my mom. When everyone was getting DVDs, my mom was like, "Wait it out. They'll come back. They'll come back to VHS."
How's that going?
Well, it's such. I think we're both like, I'm never going to do a Kindle. I'm never going to,
Yeah.
Is
Is that because you don't want to follow the herd? You don't want to go with the crowd?
I think I'm just scared. I think I'm just like, wait, like change? I don't know. Oh,
Is there a change phobia? Is there an official change phobia?
There probably is.
Because I'm sure I've got that.
Autism?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just autism.
Yeah. No, are you autistic?
As diagnosed by the internet?
Yes.
I asked my therapist. She said, maybe.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at.
Okay. We need your therapist just to sit here and just give us sit in the middle.
I have CPTSD, complex PTSD, and there are so many overlaps. Like the Venn diagram it's wild. But we have a lot of the same traits, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
So I just have a lot in common. I relate a lot to. I have a lot of autism in my family as well, so there's a lot of overlap.
Yeah, okay. But this self-awareness is great.
Oh,
God, I love it.
Without it,
God, I love
I'd
it.
be happy, I guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I was
Ignorance is
about to
bliss.
say without it, I'd be dead, but no, I think I'd just be really happy.
Do you really think that? If you didn't know any of this stuff about yourself?
No, I think it does, but I like it's the intensity again. I'm a quadruple Scorpio. I'm into
What does that mean, quadruple Scorpio? Like born on a specific year, specific day, specific...
It just means I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart.
Oh, mate.
And Scorpio is like the worst one.
Is it?
It's like the deeply intense and emotional and...
Is it?
Yeah, What are you?
Cancer. What's it mean?
I know two. I know Scorpio and I know Aquarius.
Really? Do you believe that stuff?
Yeah, in a fun way.
Yeah, good.
In a fun way. Not married to it.
Exactly. It's not, yeah. As long as you don't live your life according to it. I cannot cross the road now because of my quadruple Scorpio. 2015, Sofie Hagen. Things really kick off. Someone's earning money. Someone's earning money. What happened in 2015? Why was it a good year?
I won the best newcomer in Edinburgh.
There it is.
We miss it. We missed 2015.
There it is. Come back
And it was
2015.
Bucket. It was Buckets in Edinburgh. The Bucket collection.
So this is the free fringe standing at the door.
People making money.
Wow.
Imagine doing the free fringe with a 300 seater, and you win the award, and you have a bucket at the end. Oh, it was a good year.
That's the dream.
It was a good year.
God.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. And then things changed. Time moved on. Again, we've got change phobia.
That second show, you know the thing about the very hard second.
Yeah,
third,
the difficult
fourth,
second.
6 and 7 show, right?
I've got this with this podcast. It's the difficult 150th episode of my little taster.
But that first one, mate, it was good.
Sophie, I remember because I'd gigged with you in 2012 and suddenly I hadn't really gigged with you since, and suddenly you popped up on everywhere because you just had this incredible year.
Yeah.
That moment as well of watching the money go in the bucket. I don't want to be too money focused, but how sweet is that to see validation
I just love it.
on a physical level? Because now contactless, it's not quite the same.
It's not the same.
You're seeing people's money, people's physical money,
Yeah.
leaving them and coming to you.
Oh, and I would love going to my flat after the gigs, and then you'd pour them all over your bed, and I would count them all and put them into little, like, I don't know, remember the system, and I'd have my spreadsheet and put it into the spreadsheet, and then I would like compare it to like how well the show went, and then like how well the other shows went, so I could see if I could see like a difference, and like when would people spend most money. Like, I just love the system of it.
That's amazing. You're literally monetizing You're almost gamifying the quality of the show. So did it get to a stage where you'll be doing a good show and part of your brain will start to go, this is going to be 800 quid. This is an 800 quid.
No, I have way too much anxiety to be thinking about.
Oh, yeah, fine. What's the most you got on the door at the bucket then?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think, imagine if you had access to my spreadsheets. It was definitely over £1,000. Definitely over £1,000. I think it would get around like 1,100 or 1,300. Because it was a huge, so like by the time the what's it called, I became around the end of that Fringe, I became the talk of like the nominations. As soon as the nominations came out, and then everyone
floods to see your show.
I don't know if there's still the same vibe around shows in today's Edinburgh. Back then, at least, it was very much like, especially because it was free Fringe, so people knew they had to queue and stuff.
Amazing.
So people were feeling so desperate to get in because they knew they could be turned away. And also they knew that I was nominated, or like I was about to be nominated. It's like there's a word that I'm forgetting, like what's it called?
I don't know, the frisson, the anticipation, the momentum.
That kind of thing was just so big that I think people like threw money in.
Did you get totally giddy with the whole thing? Did you go a bit mad with it? Did you think, oh my God, I'm going to be famous? Oh my God, I'm this and that? Do you know what I mean? Did you leave yourself behind?
Weirdly not. And I think it's because of the people I surrounded myself with. I very much surrounded myself with people who were not like... I always think that's the worst thing that can happen to a comedian is if their agents, producers, promoters, like anyone around them are too like... You're good. I remember once sitting in an Edinburgh venue and I overheard agents telling a new comedian, you're definitely going to win the award. You're definitely going to win. And I was like, this is so painful to watch because this is just going to go... Like, best case scenario, this person wins the award. They didn't. And they will be like, okay, yeah, great, I've won the award now. But like, worst case, they've gotten all their hopes up. And so I was really lucky to be around very realistic... Like when I had to pick an agent... I picked, a lot of them would be like, we're going to get you on TV within a year. And I'd be like, I've only been gigging for 3 years. I shouldn't be on TV.
Right.
And then when I met my agents, who are still my agent, they were like, no TV for 5 years because you need to get good first. And I was like, yes, that's what I want.
There you go.
So I think I've been quite lucky in being around people who are very realistic and very like, okay, but just so you know, next year's not going to be as good. So you need to prepare yourself for that now.
Wow.
It's a gift. It's a gift to be around people like that.
It's great, though, that you have the intensity that we've seen with the Westlife stuff, by the way. 15th of January 2015, Shane Fillan, My Side of Life, the autobiography of Shane off of Westlife.
Hello. The show I did in 15 was about Westlife, so I will say that that is probably research. This
is it, right? So what's happened, Sophie, is all the intensity and the emotion and all the feelings and obsession. It comes to fruition with this comedy moment and all the validation that it gets, but then equally you have this very sane head with your business brain going, chill out. It's interesting. Do you think there's like a parent head there going?
Lucky,
so you got the kid going crazy, but then you've got the parent head being like, just take your time, don't
monetize it.
Yeah, but don't go on TV in September because a lot of people have made that mistake. It's interesting. It's interesting that
that was because I was meant to do a different show. I was meant to do a 40-minute show that was just like let's work it up to a best of kind of show.
Yeah.
But then I was invited by Sligo Comedy Festival.
And
I think, Sligo is where Mark Keane
in Ireland, yes.
and Shane are from.
Right.
From Westlife. And they were like, do you want to do it? And I was like, well, if I'm going to do a show in Sligo in Ireland, I'm going to do one about Westlife. So I wrote a show for that festival, which I think was in May. And then because I was like working harder on that show than whatever I was going to do in Edinburgh, it kept being an hour. I kept trying to cut it down to like half an hour.
God, it was meant to be.
Just kept being an hour. And I read fan fiction in that show.
Oh wow!
And then by the time I did it in Sligo, I was like, I'm having so much fun. I think I'll just I got an hour slot in Edinburgh instead.
Oh my God, and the rest is history. That's great. I love it. All right, 2015. So you're leading up to this. It's going to be a big year for you. And there's lots of books like this, The Beauty Myth, How Images of Beauty Are Used Against Women. Naomi Wolf there.
Never read it.
Well, that happens. That's exactly what happens. Women Who Kill, Profiles of Female Serial Killers.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're done here.
Again, research.
Yeah. You've bought a brooder horse, a little, is it brooder? It's like a toy horse, 12th of April.
For the show. I have a little horse in the show.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're propping up, you're getting ready. Here we see you beginning that journey. Yoga for people who can't be bothered to do it.
Oh.
Sure. Can't be bothered to read the book as well. Makes sense. Loads and loads of books. Westlife Our Story on the Kindle. So, What else have we got here? Lots of Danny Wallace. Love Danny Wallace.
Love Danny Wallace.
He's
Still
so
a big
great.
fan.
Amazon Basics clothes rail with top and bottom shelves, £40.
That was when I moved from the tiny room in a Streatham house where I lived with like so many comedians.
Oh yeah.
And then I got a bigger, like I had a small children's bed.
Yes.
With the boiler was over the bed.
So
the window couldn't, it was so, and I could just like, the room was the size of 2 of these sofas. And I could just like get out of the single tiny bed and then out the door.
Oh wow.
And then I got a room that was like twice the size.
Yeah.
And I was like when I moved in, I just like stood with my arms to each side, and I was like, I can't touch both walls.
I'm not in a cell anymore.
And I had a window, and then I remember buying that because I was like, now I'm making it.
Nice.
Yeah, I have room for my clothes now. It's not in a suitcase somewhere.
And do you feel, when looking back at this stuff, does it make you feel like sort of, happy for yourself at that point and kind of,
it was really exciting. I think luckily I've always been quite grateful for. I don't take a lot for granted, I hope.
Yeah. Eileen Wunas, Damsel for Sale, a tragic tale of a female serial killer. A lot of serial killer stuff here.
Wunas she's a special one, and I have a lot of love in my heart for her. I think she was misunderstood. She was very abused.
Oh, don't say that when I was laughing.
We'll cut it so it looks like you're laughing after I said it.
Yeah, Monster, my true story.
Yeah.
How many people did she kill?
Oh, I don't remember, but it was all like bad men, I think. I mean,
Dexter vibes.
It started out as bad men, and then I think she might have gotten a bit trigger happy, but because of trauma.
Okay. Talking of trauma, July 2015, Motion Performance Essentials, white donut-shaped memory foam donut.
Oh my god, ass pillow.
Whenever you see a donut-shaped pillow, we're going downstairs.
In the shower, and I don't know if I broke it, but severely damaged my
coccyx.
Oh
God!
It hurt so
much.
And it was July 15. Do you know what I'm about to do next month?
Edinburgh in August.
Yeah. So I called my doctor, and I was like, I think I broke my cock. And he was like, that's okay. Like, just like keep completely still for like a couple of months. And I was like, I can't. I'm going to Edinburgh. And he was like, well, you can go to Edinburgh in October. And I was like, no, you don't understand. So I had to carry this pillow.
Edinburgh's always there. Also, can I just say, the doctor on the phone says, hello, yeah, coccyx. Okay, keep still for 2 months. Cheers, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And puts the phone, and I go, another happy customer. Nailed that. What's next?
So I had to carry that around Edinburgh, and it was so embarrassing. So I wrote like, when the show was called Bubble Wrap, I wrote like Bubble Wrap, this, whatever the venue was at this time.
Amazing.
So I was like, at least I'll use it as like promotion.
Wow.
So I had this ass pillow that I was carrying around Edinburgh for.
Was it the new shower? You slipped in the new shower or something?
Yeah, it was the new house share.
This is why we have to be scared of change.
I remember that day it happened. I was doing my podcast with Matt Kirshen, was a guest on my podcast. And at one point during the recording, he went, are you crying? And I was like, it's okay. It's okay, Matt. It's okay. I just need to. It was so painful.
So I was once on a water slide, and I held my kid with me on the water slide. And as we came out, I did a thing which, the physics of it makes sense. If you keep them there, you just slide down. But I held him up. And in holding him up, it makes you go down harder. There's something about the way it moved my body. And I think I might have broken it.
Oh.
And I was holding this 2-year-old.
Oh.
My brother was, I was like, Toby, you need to take him.
Oh my God.
And the coccyx thing, because it's so sort of inside your body.
Oh my God.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like a toe or a leg where you can it's in you, and
you feel it constantly. Lying down, walking, sitting. It's the one most. It was so bad. It was so bad.
But I'm sorry, but a pillow, a polo-shaped pillow, comedy gold. It really is. It really is. All right, good. And look, here we go. And this is beautiful. July 2015, 500 millimeters times 50 meters of small bubble wrap.
Yes, my show was called Bubble Wrap.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give out things to the audience. So I'd ordered little badges.
Nice.
And then I made little like business card sized, or were business cards, but they said like, thank you for coming to my show.
Yeah,
I think it said like, I have a podcast, And then every audience member would get like it. And then I packed it in bubble wrap.
Oh, nice.
It just took forever. It took so long.
But there's a lot of admin. People doing the Edinburgh shows like to surround the show in admin. I've got to go and staple my reviews to the flyers. I've got to go and make the little badges. I've got to do the things because we're all desperate to be distracted from the void again.
Yeah, that's the fun bit. Is the
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we all do. I've got to go and build the Lego for the show. Like, there's always something which we've got to go and do.
Yeah. For my second show, I had to make a baby made of wood. So I was just walking around trying to find a perfect piece of wood to glue like a pacifier to.
That is, and you get totally distracted by it. Yeah, exactly. Have you written a joke for the show? No.
But I have the baby made of wood.
Samsonite suitcase, £85 on the 18th of October 2015. You've got a lovely suitcase there.
I have a thing for suitcases.
Do you?
Yeah, I have too many of them.
That's a niche kink.
Yeah, I think it's just I keep trying to. It was any kind of bag, anything storage. I'll say. I just keep wanting to find the perfect thing, and it's just never quite right. And I end up settling, and I'm like, do you know what? That was not the perfect suitcase, or the perfect bag, or the perfect rucksack of
like a partner. See?
Yeah, you're right. I also can't find a partner.
Shit. Listen, all I've done there, actually, I've crowbarred in beautifully the book, because we should talk about your book, which I've been reading, and I absolutely love. And it's a great book to read on the tube, as you can see. It's called Will I Ever Have Sex Again? And reading this on the tube has been a joy. And Sophie, tell me what you told me when I saw you outside, what you've done to this book.
Well, you don't
Genius.
have to read it on the tube and be embarrassed, because on the, what's that called? The back.
This is the dust cover.
The spine.
So on the spine inside, the actual hardback book, it says...
It says, just a cool book, don't worry about it.
That is so clever.
Because there were people have kids and stuff, and they're like, oh God, I don't want to have to explain why I'm reading this weird sex book.
Well, also, it looks like a self-help book. Like I'm reading it going, oh God. But for you, this is the reality. This is what's happened. Tell us a bit about how you, for want of a better word, conceived this idea.
Well, I stopped having sex now.
On purpose, I decided.
It felt a bit like I woke up one day and realized I've not had sex in, at that point, it was 7 years. And I was like, I want to go on this journey and find out why, because it wasn't necessarily a lack of offers. It was more that every time I got close to intimacy, I would kind of panic a bit. And I was like, I need to figure out why that is.
Yeah.
And I pitched the book and I got a book deal, and then I really struggled with it because I was like, who cares? Who cares? Who gives a shit that I haven't had sex in 7 years? And then I posted on Instagram, and I was just like, can anyone relate? Get in touch. And within 48 hours, I'd gotten 1,800 replies.
Wow.
So I had 1,800 stories like in the spreadsheet, and I had to shut it down because I wanted to be able to read all of them. And I was just like, guys, oh, this is a thing now. So I was reading through and I was like, oh, okay, a lot of people have a thing with sex. Like there's like a blockage between us and sex. And it can be, and there were so many different reasons, so many. So the ones I've touched upon in the book is like gender, sexuality, body image, neurodiversity, sex education, and sexual trauma. As just some of the things that are sort of standing in between me and sex. It's like, well, I'm non-binary, I'm queer, never had sex with someone who wasn't a cis man. How do I go about that? There were lots of the stories I got which were from queer people being like, well, it's just safer to do the thing that I'm used to, but I actually think I might be probably more queer than I want to admit.
Right,
but how do you do that at the age of... everyone was like, how do I do that? I'm only 25. Or how do I do that? I'm 30, I'm 40, I'm 50. And, body image, so many people with low self-esteem who are like, I just can't have sex because I don't think anyone wants to. And there's just sexual trauma, of course, is like the big one, lack of sexual education. So I kind of went on this journey to try and figure out, well, how can I get to a point where I feel comfortable being intimate again?
And has that happened?
Oh, no. No, but I have reached, when I pitched the book, I was like, and then at the end of the book, I'm gonna go to an orgy, and then I'll tell the story about the orgy. And my editor was so sweet. She was like, oh, we just see where it goes. And I was like, no, it'll end with an orgy. And I'm really happy she didn't push that, because the main realization is like, oh, it's complicated.
It's a really, really complicated book, and it's a really beautifully written thing, and to dive into all those complications, you do it so well, and your tone, just the way you write is just gorgeous, Sophie. And I think you need to write lots more stuff, novels and memoirs and all sorts of stuff.
Thank you.
And there's some people you meet as well, the French porn star. But I recommend it massively. It's really, really good, and it's out now. Is it out now? Is it?
No, it's
When's
out
it
in a week.
Oh, great. Well, that's probably when this is going to go out.
Yeah, so
give me the date. So the date we're recording this. Well, there we are, guys. You're looking behind the curtain here. So we're recording this on Friday the 17th. So when is it out?
23rd.
Oh, fine. 23rd of May.
23rd of May, it's out.
Will I Ever Have Sex Again? It's a great title.
Thank you.
All right, look, let's dive back into your Amazon,
Yes.
Sophie, and have a quick look through 2016. The number of orders that you make has shot up, by the way.
Yeah, I think I had it's also like I didn't live with other comedians, so no one would take the piss anymore. When I bought
Right,
things.
you could really unleash it.
Yeah.
So you're living by yourself now?
Oh, God, no.
Okay.
But just with people who weren't comedians, so
Normals.
they weren't mean.
Oh, what are they like? Normal people? All right, so look, there's absolutely
I had
loads.
my bucket money. I needed to buy some stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You're spending your
Also,
own
I'd
money.
moved to the UK with like one suitcase full, and now I suddenly had a room. So like, I think I just needed to buy stuff now.
A fringe cut tool.
Oh yeah, those don't work. I cannot speak highly enough of how do not buy a fringe cut tool.
Excellent. Crayola anti-dust white chalk, 3rd of January 2016. You're buying
No
chalk.
idea.
Okay, fine. I really enjoy it when people just go, nope.
No idea.
Not
Chalk?
a Scooby.
No idea. Why would I buy chalk?
What else have we got here? Oh, look, an airplane seatbelt extender.
Yeah, you're not. Apparently, they're not really allowed.
Yeah.
But sometimes I've been on. I need one for planes because they're too small.
Yeah.
But when you ask for them, sometimes you just won't get them. So you
But
can
what
ask,
happens then? So then they say,
well, I have one sat on a whole plane without one. I've just been like, well, I guess if I die, I die. I don't know. I feel like the odds of me dying if a plane crashes are high anyway. So like whatever. But I now have my. If they don't bring one, I have my extra one. But they're not approved.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's better than not wearing one. And I usually do. Also, the ones this is like dark blue. The ones you ask for, like when you get them, they're like orange or like yellow. Like it's like, look at me.
High vis.
Yeah, it's a lot. So now I have my spare one I always bring.
I always think seatbelts on aeroplanes. No point. I mean,
I feel like there's no point. But we have to.
You're in
have to assume.
Tin can versus gravity, love. It's just, you know what I mean?
You just have to assume they must know a bit. I have sometimes if there's been like turbulence and you're like, oh.
Yes. Well, there is. I guess that's what it's for, isn't it? For the drop.
Yeah.
The sudden drop when you shoot up.
Suddenly, you can see who's not wearing it.
Yeah. There's one.
Yeah.
People just popping up.
But I do recommend one, even though they're not. There's probably a reason they're not allowed, but it's nice to just feel that you have it, just in case.
Yeah, I think that's the thing.
Because also, if you ask for it and then they say, "Oh, we don't have any," you're not allowed to fly.
Oh wow!
So you'll just have to like. Okay.
Oh right, they boot you off the plane.
Yeah, well, you have to have a seatbelt on. So if you can't fit in the seatbelt, but usually they do have them. I've never experienced them not having it, but that's always at the back of my mind. So I would rather just use the.
This is stressful stuff.
It's being fat and flying is the most stressful thing in the fucking world. Yeah. It's so stressful and expensive if you get to the point where I'm at, where you need like 2 seats. It's like.
What's the longest flight you've done then? Have you been down under?
Yeah, Australia.
How was that?
Awful. Oh my God, it was so, I couldn't eat anything because it was so tight that I couldn't, what's it called, like the tray, I couldn't open the tray because it wouldn't land on my stomach.
Yeah.
And there were the 2 guys sitting, there were the 2 guys sitting next to me, like laughing, making jokes, like putting their elbows into my side, like.
What?
Oh, it was so bad. And also I already have back issues, of course I do. And it was so bad that I was like, if I have to take the same flight back, I can't.
I'm now going to live in Australia.
I now live in Australia. So I spent, and it took me so long to recover financially. I had to spend like £3,000 on a business flight back.
Wow.
Because there was no other way of me getting home.
Yeah, of course.
It was awful. And I was just like, I'm never flying again.
But the seats are narrow. The seats
just for normal, just for like normal sized people.
Yes.
That's not a word, but non-fat people is small.
Yes, because I'm tall, so my leg, I have these fidgety legs, so they're always moving, and I'm always bashing people, and then my elbows.
Yeah.
I just think could have been a Zoom, mate. Could have been a Zoom. Just remember that for next time.
Lives in Melbourne.
Yeah.
No, I'd love to come to your comedy festival, but could we do it over Zoom?
I'm just going to need a boat. All right, elsewhere in 2016, let's see what else you've got, Sophie. Scenic view window poster in beach design with accessory. So it's like a poster of a beach.
What?
I don't know.
Why did I do that?
Oh, look, hang on. Moving on. Charm leaks women underwear, ladies sexy lace thong. Pack of 6 thongs.
Can I see?
Yeah.
What are those? Oh, yeah.
Pants.
You know what?
Pants.
The word I didn't remember, but the feeling I remember. That is not fun.
Right.
Never buy your sexy underwear from Amazon.
Right.
Whew.
Because it's a G-string. I mean, it's just
I had a real good period of thongs, which was because it's like there was like a thing around. How to explain it, but I felt like normal underwear would like fall down a lot, and then I thought with like thongs they would like get stuck in.
Yeah, right.
Like keep them up.
Not yet.
But no, it's not worth it.
Like earbuds.
Yeah.
Just sort of.
Yeah.
But thongs are just like wearing a dog collar around your genitals. They just.
Sure.
It just feels like this sort of stringy kind of.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they're comfortable.
You feel held and comforted. I mean, I don't. I used to only wear thongs because for some reason it felt more comfortable. But no, I've moved away. I found Marks and Spencer's underwear, and now I'm a convert. The big granny ones as well.
Oh, granny
all
pants.
on board.
I love a comfy pair of pants, and we don't say that enough in life or on this show. That's what I like to bring to this show. It's attention to detail. It's true that I have let's say I have 10 pairs of pants in my underwear drawer, and there's like 3 pairs that are I just love those ones. The reality is the 7 are just on the bench. They never come out of the circuit.
Wait, so do you wash your underwear every third day?
I reckon there's a wash because we've got kids, so there's just a wash all the time in our house. So it's just like.
Yeah, no, I build it up.
Yeah, okay.
Once a third or fourth week, I do all my laundry.
It's one here every 4 weeks.
Yeah, I've got a lot of underwear.
That is efficient. That is seriously efficient. All right, fine. Let's move on. What else have we got here? Sophie, there's just some random things. Inflatable snake, inflatable flamingo. August.
That was Alison Spitzel. Is this August? Yeah, that's August. That's when the year I lived with Alison Spitzel. Because Alison Spitzel was doing a show where she had inflatable stuff on stage with her.
Great.
So I was like, I'll buy you some more stuff. And that order fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
So they kept sending me inflatable things throughout the month, even though I hadn't. I'd buy it once and they would send like 1 million of them. And Acaster and Ed Gamble and Nish Kumar, I think Rose Matafeo would live above us in the flat.
Yeah.
And sometimes it would get sent to theirs.
Wow.
So the doorbell would ring and it would just be James Acaster holding like an inflatable shark, being like,
do you know what? That has got to be the weirdest Acaster anecdote I've ever heard.
Yeah.
James Acaster
really,
just handing
really
inflatable things back to you.
They were really sweet in the beginning, those boys. And at the end they were like, you gotta stop sending us inflatable. And I was like, but I've only ordered... Okay. It's not all.
I just want to see you, James.
And
Please.
I was fairly good friends with Alison, but we weren't like close enough that I could warrant having bought her 500 inflatable swans or whatever. It was a fun year.
That's amazing. Just all the inflatable stuff. All right, look, 2017 now. The antidote, happiness for people who can't stand positive thinking.
Yeah, I'm quite into self-help. I have a self-help podcast now.
Oh, do you?
Self-help book podcast where we talk about self-help books.
Okay.
So I've always been quite fascinated. It's called Help Hole. I've always been quite fascinated by it. And I think that's like a good non-self-help book, but still a self-help book.
Yes, but we get self-help books, and A, we don't read them, and B, you can't get help on one title of a book. That's the thing. You can read one bit of it and go, oh, that's useful, and that usually lasts for a day or two.
Well, that's what the podcast is. It's like us reading the books for you, and then we're telling you that one bit.
Oh, nice. That is good. What's it called?
Yeah.
Help Hole.
Help Hole.
Help Hole. Okay, good. Fantastic. I'll listen. All right. This is what always happens on the show. As we get towards the end of the show, you've bought shitloads of stuff.
I know.
150 orders in 2017. I'm going to race through, okay?
Oh, it's every other day, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's every other day. Yeah. Good math. Vivid Arts Real Life Frog.
What?
The Ribbit the Frog, a garden toad statue.
Oh, yeah. I had a frog on my head for the show poster that year.
Great.
Yeah.
Any reason why, or just...
The show was called Dead Baby Frog.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Was that not? So this was
an ideal show title.
Yeah. This show. So this is 2 years after you won the Newcomer.
Yeah.
Did that one go well, or
no?
Oh wow!
No. I got stage fright during the month of Edinburgh.
Eee.
I'd never had stage fright before, ever in my life. And suddenly I was like shaking, sweating, like
what?
My mouth turned dry. It was wild at the time, and then I realized, I'm not ready to talk about my abusive, traumatic childhood on stage.
Sophie.
I tried to do one of those shows, like, I'm going to tell you all of the dark stuff, but be funny about it.
Oh, Sophie.
But I forgot the be funny about it part. So it was just me talking about trauma on stage whilst very obviously not being ready for it.
Wow.
It's why I read through the show the other. I can't listen to myself, so I had it like transcribed and I read it, and I was like, "Whoa, that's a person going through something."
Yeah.
Live on
and
stage.
This is about your grandfather. You mentioned him in the book.
Yeah, it's about my grandfather.
Yeah, that's a big topic, right? To
Yeah.
take that on for an Edinburgh show when you're not mentally ready to do it.
Ready to, you need like, I think what I've learned now is like, if I need to talk about something that is like sensitive in any way, which I do, and that's what I want to talk about. Like, again, intensity, quadruple Scorpio.
Yeah.
I need to take like, I can't just write a show in 6 months.
Yeah.
Like I need to take a year and then be like,
Yeah.
at least a year, maybe 2 years to be like, what do
However
I
long it takes.
what do I actually want to say? And like, am I ready to talk about? Because if I'd asked myself that question, it would have been like, oh yeah, no, absolutely
So could you
not.
take a run up now? You've talked about it. You've written about him in the book. Could you take a run up and talk about him again, or is that not?
I could.
You don't want to.
I think I could, but I just have no interest in.
So this is your dad's mum.
This is
Your mum. Sorry, your mum's dad.
It's my mom's new husband. So he's not like
step.
Yeah, step
Okay.
grandfather.
Okay, and he lived with you as a kid.
50. He lived like nearby, but they were the only ones that my mother had.
Right.
Like we lived in like a tiny village, and they lived in like the next village over. So I spent like 50% of my time with him and my grandmother.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
He's dead now.
Okay.
So that's good.
Yeah. I mean,
All right. He's dead.
I would never celebrate someone's death, but I am dancing.
Oh well, you didn't meet him.
And yeah, fucking hell. All right. So there's loads of stuff here. It's really hard when I want to talk to you about your step grandfather, and I want to explore that, and then equally I want to say, oh yeah, you bought yourself a Minky Trio Concertina Tubular Era.
What?
Yeah,
What's
there's
that?
an Era. It's just a clothes dryer. But
Oh yeah, Era. Yeah. No, I hate them. That they don't work.
Right. Yes, because they are like
They can't carry anything.
They can't carry
Anything
anything.
that isn't on this outside that never
Yeah.
gets dry.
This is what I love about the show. You see, we can go from an abusive step grandfather
To something important.
to something important like eras don't work. So true.
I don't wash a dryer now, which is the happiest I've ever been.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh God.
I mean, I also have a
Dehumidifier.
dehumidifier.
Hello.
For like
Amazing.
for the stuff I don't want to dry, tumble dry.
Yeah.
But
Machines.
also garden now, so in the summer, I hang stuff outside. Ugh.
A towel wash. Towel wash every day.
Oh, a towel.
A towel wash. When the weather gets
Wish I
warm,
could.
that's the
Wish
first
I
thing we do. Towels.
Oh, I
Towels.
love that. But there's nothing better than like a tumble dry towel,
Mm.
and then you step straight out of the shower. Oh
The comforts.
my God, I love.
Dare I
something
say it,
dry
Sophie,
and
the
clean.
comforts of middle age? Can I just put that out there? There's loads and loads of books. Oh, then Atlanta, season 1, Atlanta, the TV series.
Oh, I don't think I ever got to see that.
We have got, you've learned how to use Prime Video. That's what's happening. Here. That's what's
Yeah,
happening
that was a good. Oh, that's a good one.
here.
Prefer it to Netflix.
Yeah, controversial.
Yeah.
An iron-on Siberian Husky patch.
Oh my God, yeah, that was my. Yeah, I had an iron-on period. I had my dungarees, and my iron-on patches. I went through a little thing there.
These are the
At
eras.
the age of almost 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big moment. I did TV wearing one, and my agent had to sit me down and go, "We need to have just like a general chat about your wardrobe."
Do you feel uncomfortable when people do that? Do you feel sort of seen and assassinated by it? Because I do. When people say to me, "What were you wearing in that picture?" I feel very vulnerable about that stuff.
I think I've always been that. Like I've always, I wore my uncle's clothes to school. Like at one point, everyone in my class did a collection of like, I think it accumulated to like £2, but to pay me to wear something different or to wear it differently, because they were like, "You can't wear this."
Yeah.
Like so, I've been I had a nickname in the suburb I grew up in, which was farm fashion. People would shout farm because I wore Crocs. This is before Crocs was like a thing. So it was
Because
like
they're cool now.
old fashioned. It was like like proper like wooden.
Oh wow! Oh,
Yeah,
clogs.
Yeah. Oh, clogs. Yeah,
Wow,
clogs. Sorry.
you wore clogs.
Yeah, it was easy. Just put your foot into. So like if people are ever like, "What are you wearing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's probably not the right thing, is it?"
What we need is easy and trendy. That's the problem. Because I will always go easy if possible, but easy and comfortable is never cool. That's
It
the
just
problem.
doesn't exist unless you're like really thin and
Yeah.
blonde and a model. Then you can wear anything and it's trendy. But nah.
You have to suffer for fashion. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Look, Les Mis has come up again.
Yeah.
French Revolution, 2 red flags. Now you've bought the flags. 2nd of June 2017. Literally, this is a red flag. There's literally a red flag on your account.
I bought a red flag. I don't remember why I would have bought a red flag.
Well, June, maybe getting towards Edinburgh, perhaps.
Oh, yeah, it would in 17.
That's 17.
Oh, wait, this rings a bell. I think I was working on someone else's show where they needed a big red flag. I feel like I have like a memory of someone using a flag in that show.
Okay.
Oh,
right. Red flag.
I wish I could remember what that
Les Mis
was.
is popping up. 2020, obviously a mad year.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone goes crazy and buys so much on Amazon. However, I'd say you're right up there in terms of the numbers.
Oh, my God.
How many orders do you think you placed in 2020?
2,000.
Not that bad. 414.
Oh, my God.
That's high.
That's when I live alone. I'm moving. I moved. That's it. I moved in 2020. Yes, okay. That's it. That's my
to be by yourself.
And I moved from a studio flat to like a 2-bedroom with a. No, is it 2-bedroom? 2-bedroom with a garden.
Oh, wow.
So I would have bought stuff for the flat. That's my excuse.
And also something which it's fine.
And
it's fine.
pandemic.
In 2020, no excuses required. 28th of December, the pet fun feeder. You bought a dog bowl slow.
Oh, I also got a dog.
Let's talk about Hank.
I also got a dog in 2020. Those are all. That all makes sense to me now.
How much do you love your dog?
Oh, he's just the best. He's so fun. He's not. Like, obviously, he's just a dog. But to me, he's so funny.
What kind of dog is he?
He's a Shar-Pei Staffy mix.
Oh, come on.
And he's just really fun. Like, he's just like, he'll look at me and I just start laughing, which is so ridiculous. He's just something about his stupid face is so funny. Yeah, I got him in 2020.
How come you got a dog? What happened? Just, I guess, because 2020 happened.
I got a garden. That was it. I moved to a place with a garden, and it was locked down. And then I asked my landlord, who was he's so kind. Well, he's dead now, but his wife is now also kind.
Okay.
But he was like, yeah, you can have a dog. Oh. So then I got one, which I've always wanted.
Landlords and renters became much more dog friendly over lockdown.
I'm so lucky. Like, if she ever kicks me out.
Yeah.
And I think she could, and she could earn twice as much from rent, because also the rent was, that's why I could afford a garden, because the rent was pushed down so hard because no one was moving.
Yes.
She could kick me out and make 1,000, if not more, pounds more a month.
I hope she doesn't listen to My Mate Bought a Toaster.
I hope she loves me too much, because I wouldn't know what to do if I could.
Just tell her that.
There's no other way I can pay this.
You'd have to take all your Westlife posters down. It would take forever.
It's so hard to do that, yeah. But yeah, I got him then. It was, that's all the stuff I've...
Lovely. And do you find a lot of comfort from having the dog? It's emotionally, it's a big moment. I
really
got our dog in 2006. Got our first dog. Well, we've had one before who died. We got 15 and a half years out of her. So we had a Labradoodle, and then we've got 2 dogs. We've now got a St. Bernard cross poodle. And we've got
what? A St. Bernard
I'll
poodle?
show you photos
of
something.
You must.
And we've got a Saluki cross poodle. So we've got 2. I have 2 dogs, and it's the best thing I've ever done.
Oh my God.
Getting a dog is the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
And it creates problems, but it solves every single other problem.
When I told my therapist I was getting a dog, she laughed so hard and said, "Good luck." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "It brings out everything. It brings out." I just think it might be different if you also have a child that might have brought stuff up as well. But she was just like, "You're gonna start facing some demons."
Why?
And I was like, "What's happening?" But I get it, because I can like feel if I get really stressed. And then he likes to run into my knees from behind. He thinks that's fun. So I almost fall. And then when I get to that state, my mother comes out, my grandfather comes out, and I have to be like, oh shit. This would have been my initial reaction had I not done the work. Mm-hmm. So when I'm like, oh wait, he's just a dog. Like don't obviously don't shout at him. Right. Don't he doesn't know what he's doing. You are just like at an elevated point right now.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God, like I saw myself becoming my parents and like not having any capacity for this other living creature to just exist. Mm-hmm. I was like, oof.
Interesting. And so this is an anger thing, isn't it, mainly? This is an anger sort of impatience.
Passive aggressiveness more.
Oh, interesting.
There's no real expression of feelings.
Yeah.
It's an internalized, and then like, I just want to look at him and be like, after everything I've done for you.
I can say there's one animal you can't be passive towards, it's a dog.
Exactly.
Because they will not pick up those signals.
And that's the other thing that it does. It challenges that, because he's not manipulated. I can't manipulate him. Oh my God, I can't emotionally manipulate him, which is so annoying.
Wow. You don't need a therapist anymore, just have the dog.
And also loudness, like one of my big things with my grandfather, like one of the main like pieces of abuse was loudness. Like any sound I made. So when he then barks, every part of me wants to be like, you have to be quiet, like we will die if you are not quiet. And then I just try to feel that and be like, oh, but I'm not a child and my grandfather isn't here.
Yeah.
So he's allowed to be loud. He's a dog.
So if you were loud as a child.
Oh, if I made a sound as a child. We had these leather sofas and I had to sit completely still. If I like moved and it went like,
Yeah. So what would your grandfather do? He would just go nuts?
He would turn the volume all the way up so it was like blasting out of the TV.
Yes, in your book, yes.
Until we sat completely quiet for a while. And also it was you knew that you had like made him sad and upset and angry and annoyed. And so it was just this like, how could you? How could you? And I was like 5.
Oh,
and then like,
awful.
So like whenever Hank barks, it heals a bit of that because I'm like, okay, he's allowed to make a sound. He's allowed to make a sound. We're all allowed to make sounds.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's unbelievable, though, isn't it? How long it takes to rewire our brains.
Yeah. You also have to actively do it. You have to actively every time be like, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one's going to be mad at you. You've not done a bad thing. But also find sometimes he does need to shut up. It's like 10 p.m. and people are sleeping.
Yeah.
So it's like really, but also when he then barks when he's playing, that's when it's really tricky. Because when he's like, he's a guard dog. So when he's like warning me about people existing outside of the house, it's fine. But then when he's like playing and being loud, that's really challenging because that's like
like a kid. That's like a 5-year-old kid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then you're like, oh.
Wow.
And my therapist is just like, you're doing the work.
This is amazing. This dog is an assistant, not to you, but to your therapist.
Yeah, she's getting a lot of mileage out of that one.
It's amazing. All right, here's what we're going to do because we're running out of time, Sophie.
Yeah.
I'm going to go into the last few months.
Oof, okay. I'm trying to be better with Emma. I'm trying to not do it as much. But it is just every other delivery company is shit in my area.
Yeah, I know.
It's so bad. And I'm just like, if I don't want it thrown in the bin, if I don't want it delivered to a parcel shop 400 miles away, I spend so much time with UPS having arguments over that shit.
Oh my God. I would never want, I'd never wish harm on anyone, but I would go to war with Yodel.
Oh, they've been okay with me?
No, they haven't.
But UPS?
I refuse to believe that. UPS, really?
DPD is fine.
Every? How do you feel about Every?
Oh, fuck, that doesn't even count as a delivery thing. If anything is like, it's delivered by Every, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to receive
That's
that.
a passerby who happens to have a bag with your stuff in it.
Yeah, that doesn't count. That doesn't even... UPS, though. We tried to deliver... No, you didn't, because I have a ring cam, and I was sitting by the door all day. I have literal evidence that he was not at my door. And then they're like, well, you could tell that he couldn't gain access to... It's just a house. Wow. There's a door and there's a road. I can show you a picture of my house to tell you, like, you would know how to get in there, because there's no fucking gate. Well,
we get furious with them because we're addicted to buying all this stuff, and these guys are our dealers,
no, but
right?
it's the gaslighting when they're like, he could no, but there was no way for him to get in.
No, he didn't.
You didn't. You did. I have ring. I'm going to send you the whole day of ring cam to show you. No, but he had to deliver it to this shop, and I always go like,
oh, they always do the shop thing because they can just drop them all off there.
Yeah, absolutely
of course.
not. Absolutely, I get so angry about it, and I shouldn't because they're not paid well, and it's I should just go to the shop and buy things, but still.
Well, there
really
is that route out of it, but sometimes the anger can be thrilling as well. I completely agree. It's so
and I always
annoying.
try to say to them like, I'm so sorry. I know it's not you. I know you have a shit job, but you must be able to understand how frustrating this is.
Yeah. Please don't take it personally, but I want you to die. Stuff like that. It's fine.
Not that I want the company you work for is evil.
Yeah.
And I want you to be happy in another job with someone who deserves you.
Yeah. But listen, I really need my, for example, hairspray bottle, continuous water mister.
Listen.
5th of May. This is just arrived.
It's really good. The one I have is broken. Mm-hmm. Because now with this hair, I need to wet my hair sometimes. Otherwise, I wake up and I look like, I don't know what, a clown. Mm-hmm. But also, it was really hot for a couple of days, remember? Mm-hmm. And Hank, when he gets overheated, I have to spray him with cold water.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah.
You spray the dog.
Yeah. He can't control it himself. He's like in the sun, like like panting, and you're just like, go inside.
Yeah. Do you like having someone else to look after? Has that helped you with the dog, or is that just annoying?
That's a good mix. Depends on the day.
Yeah. Doesn't it just?
Yeah.
All right, look, here we go. We're going to go for the latest thing, right? And again, maybe this...
What's that?
Well...
I should have been... Because I would have known that I was doing this, wouldn't I?
Yeah, you should have thought this through.
I should have thought this through.
There's lots of dog stuff. Zesty Paws.
Allergy
and immunity chews.
We took him to the vet to try and get some... to ask what they recommended.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're trying to get his he itches a bit these days. So I'm getting
Okay.
him some
That'll often
skin
be hay
stuff.
fever stuff.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Condoms. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Can I please explain?
Yes. Oh, you don't have to. We don't have to talk about it. I can just edit that out if you don't want to talk about it.
It's not. It feels very off-brand when I'm like,
Well, to
I
be
haven't
honest,
had sex, but I also needed to buy 100 condoms.
maybe this is a great place to finish. Will I ever have sex again is the question.
It's because when you do a book, you're allowed to send out books to like influencers and famous people.
Yes.
And I love packing parcels. During lockdown, I had like 100 copies of my first book, and I would just be like selling them to people, and I fucking loved just sitting there packing things.
Yes.
So with this one, I wanted to send out a bunch of stuff to the people I was sending the book to.
Amazing.
And my dream was condoms with my face on it.
Amazing.
So I bought 100 condoms. The book is, for people who are not watching, it's pink and red.
Yeah.
So I bought, I think, around 50 or 40 pink condoms and then red condoms. And then I had stickers made with my face on it where I look disappointed.
Amazing.
And then the text says, "Oh, you're about to have sex. I'm so happy for you."
Nah.
And then I stuck my face on all of the condoms so I could send it out.
Oh, that's
to
great.
people who receive the book.
I feel like that's the best place to leave it. I just love that. You know, it's again you putting more inflatables in the post.
Yeah,
We've
and
already
then
had
I,
an
of
issue with
course,
that.
poked a little hole in all of them. So.
It's gonna be a massive population spike.
Yeah.
I wonder if anyone will actually use the condom. Well, we have actually got one. It's got Sophie's face on it. Yeah,
I
fine.
really hope it kills the mood.
Please tell me you sent them to Westlife as well. That would be.
I cannot due to the restraining order. So
I love it. Sophie, we started with I was about to say Breaking Bad. That's not it at all. We started with Breaking. What was it? Breaking Dawn. What's it called? We started with the Twilight Saga.
yeah.
We started with repressed vampires, and we've ended with condoms in your book about not having sex.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Is there
anything
a
in that?
direct correlation?
It's your life story as told by the things you've bought. That's all we can ask for on this show. Sophie, I think you're wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and good luck with this book. It's just brilliant. And yes, come back again soon. And oh my God, the number of things you bought in the last few years is just it's intense.
It's intense. It's a lot. I'm trying to stop. I'm trying to quit.
Quadruple Sagittarius. You got no chance. Is it Sagittarius? I probably got that wrong. Scorpio.
It's classic Cancer, isn't it?
God, that's so Cancer. So Cancer.
It's my made water toaster. Oh, it's my made water toaster. Yeah, yeah, my made water toaster. Oh, toaster for my